On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We are at a funny little place in history. First off, there is a very interesting pyramid story, so some of why the thumbnail's the way it is. But the other part of it is we're watching the deep state. We're catching the deep state. We've actually got a couple of arrests that I think will make a few of you, well, smile. And we've got some, we've got some other things that are starting to unravel for the bad guys. Interesting times are happening. So, I'm stoked to be a part of this with you guys. Hopefully you guys feel the same way. Great picture from Elon Musk to start it off with. Of course, his Doge desk, Make America Great Again, but of course, Pepe the Frog in a framed picture in the back. Assuming that's actually legitimately there, though it's oddly shaped, isn't it? Whatever the case might be, maybe he's into oddly shaped pictures. Julian's Rum put this out, and I think it's an interesting statement. Now, I kind of want to specify first off the bat. It's never the people of a group that we have a problem with. It's the specific deep state faction within that group. So please understand there are a lot of people that are good people that have bad people that have infiltrated them. I don't want to get too off on the woods here, but this is an interesting point. So the first few years of my red pill journey, I had trouble accepting the fact that basically every major false flag from the past 60 years traces back to Israel/Mossad. As uncomfortable as it is, it's true. And the sooner we accept it, the better. Otherwise, what the F are we doing? Now, kind of from my standpoint, I feel the same way from the spiritual standpoint. If we're not dealing with the true nature of who we are and where we come from and our actual origin story, what the hell are we doing? But one thing I've had to learn is patience in my life, because I've realized that people are not ready for that, at least exactly yet, though I think that time is approaching quickly. So to his point, what are we doing? Well, we're waking everyone up so we can actually take care of the truth, so we can and have the confidence and faith and courage to look at what's happened to us. So again, it is an interesting story. Not a problem with the Jewish people. Please understand that. But the Bible's got, well, anyway, we're not going to get lost in that right now. That is, boy, I am so enjoying that new book, by the way. I keep talking about it. You guys obviously are aware of that. They caught the suspect at the CIA headquarters in McLean, Virginia. Get the little update on that.
Suspect is in custody after a barricade situation near the CIA headquarters in Virginia.
For a good part of the day, Route 123 was shut down as SWAT and Fairfax County Police tried to negotiate with the suspect. Fox 5's David Kaplan is live in McLean right now with all that's happened over the past hour. David?
Yeah, Shamari, it's definitely been a very busy hour here. I want to start with this. Dolly Madison Boulevard here behind me, open. Some of these cars are the first ones that have moved on this road for about 5 hours, since 10 o'clock this morning, as a result of what Fairfax County called a barricade situation near the entrance to the CIA, which is directly behind me. They have recently said in the last half hour, confirming this situation has been resolved, that the suspect is in custody, that he surrendered to Fairfax County Police negotiators. Again, all of this at really the main entrance to the CIA. Now, Fox 5 has video of this person in custody. Take a look at your screen right now. We brought this to you live as it was happening during the DMV zone. A man with long blonde hair emerging in handcuffs from a sea of law enforcement vehicles that responded. Again, this lasted about 5 hours. There were tactical teams, robots, drones, tons of police vehicles, all as part of this barricade situation. A few of those vehicles just started slowly pulling away in the last hour, and definitely, as you can tell, this road is back open. We have not heard from the CIA about what exactly happened here. All they have said is that no shots were fired during the entirety of this incident. We are hoping to get additional information from them soon. If we get anything new in our next hour, we'll be sure to.
Now, I'm assuming when they say no shots fired during this incident, they're referring to the incident post the shot being fired, because that was what got everybody all riled up, got their panties in a twist, as there was a shot fired in the parking lot. Whatever. Now we got a blonde dude with long hair. Okay, I mean, hey, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I guess it means he's not a black man. It means, yeah, which I didn't think anything stupid like that would be the case. I kind of figured probably be a white guy. That seems like a white guy thing to do, kind of. But certainly it's weird. I was talking about it yesterday. CIA parking lot? Really? That's where you're going to go and pop off a shot and try to do some weird stuff? Really? I mean, just got to figure that just the odds that you'll survive that can't be high. This is hilarious. I don't think this has to be fake. I'm sure the CIA did not post this. I think they're faking what it would look like if the CIA posted this, but still nonetheless very funny. They said, what if no one shot JFK and his head just did that? Asking for a friend. That's pretty funny. I mean, it's not funny that his head popped like a melon, because most heads don't do that. So I'm not going to play this video because it's just 5 numbnuts talking while there's cars burning below. And I want to kind of mention, too, I think it's interesting how the people on the left, the progressives mostly, actually believe what they're doing. They believe what they're doing is right. They believe violence is a means to an end. And the Democrats promote that, which is funny. I guess maybe we'll play the video. But they tell you they are the party of tolerance. Yet when you resist their agenda, they lash out in rage and violence. They tell you they are the party of truth. Yet when you present ideas, they attempt to silence and cancel you. They tell you they are the party of democracy. Yet they purchase and activate judges to usurp the will of the people. They tell you they are the party of the people. Yet when you attempt to remove their money laundering schemes, they commit acts of domestic terrorism. The Democrat Party has become an inversion of everything good about America. They are exposed for all to see.
Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles.
Realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. And that's a fact.
Yeah, so this is the party of the left, the ones that claim to be the peaceful party, and no war, no all peace, burn a bra, all that kind of fun stuff. Put a vagina on your head just because you can. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Wednesday announced that the department would be hunting down those responsible for the increase in swatting attempts on conservative figures and journalists in recent weeks. There's been quite a few of these situations that have been happening, so they're going to be cracking down on that big time. Now, kind of in relation more to the Tesla stuff, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced charges against the 3 individuals responsible, 3, not all of them, but 3 individuals responsible for violent destruction of Tesla properties. All 3 defendants will face the full forces of the law for using Molotov cocktails to set fire to Tesla cars and charging stations. The days of committing crimes without consequences have ended, she said. Let this be a warning. If you join this wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties, the Department of Justice will put you behind bars. One defendant, also armed with a suppressed AR-15 rifle, was arrested after throwing approximately 8 Molotov cocktails at a Tesla dealership located in Salem, Oregon. Another was arrested in Loveland, Colorado, after attempting to light Teslas on fire with Molotov cocktails. The defendant was later found in possession of materials used to produce additional incendiary weapons. In Charleston, South Carolina, a third defendant wrote profane messages against President Trump around Tesla charging stations before lighting the charging stations on fire with, you guessed it, Molotov cocktails. Each defendant faces serious charges carrying a minimum penalty of 5 years and up to 20 years in prison. Uh-oh. Elon Musk says Tesla has ramped up security and activated Sentry mode on all vehicles that are sitting out at their dealerships right now. Apparently, Sentry mode is a feature that allows you to monitor activities around a Tesla vehicle when it is parked and locked. When suspicious motion is detected, the vehicle will react depending on the severity of the threat. Not sure what it does, like if it calls you names or if it starts making fun of how small your wiener must be. I don't know. They do something along those lines. They probably should. Anyways, Attorney General Pam Bondi, charge 3. She's kind of already talked about it. I don't know if she says anything more on this, but let's check it out anyways.
Yes. Obviously, in bringing up the concept of domestic terrorism, I would think that opens up your department and the FBI into investigating who is funding these attacks. Are they organized? What can you tell us about all of this, which many are seeing on their screen right now at Tesla dealerships, and it's taking place all over the country?
These attacks are taking place throughout our country. We have charged multiple people. Get ready, more coming. One we charged in Oregon is facing 5 to 20 years in prison. We filed in Colorado. We filed in South Carolina. There are more coming. And yes, the funding is one thing we are looking at among many others. I was personally in a meeting about it this morning. We are coming after you. We believe these are organized. These are not individuals out there throughout the country doing this on their own. They're targeting Tesla owners. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. They're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you. We will find you. And if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
And to be clear, you said you came out of a meeting this morning. At least to some extent, you are seeing some level of organization and behind-the-scenes funding that you can investigate and potentially prosecute?
That's everything that we're looking at.
Pretty sure this is the first Attorney General that I've ever experienced that I actually was attracted to. Yeah, she's pretty hot. I gotta be honest. Dig her. And she's smart and all that cool stuff. And tough. Oh, yeah, she's tough. She's just talking all sorts of toughness there. I want to show pictures of these guys. Anyone surprised? Here's the 3 people that were charged. Here is a boy-girl. This is, I think, a dude that pretends to be a girl. Big shock. And then, again, yeah, your standard white male, reasonably young. This guy's a little on the older side. He's got to be getting close to 40. In his 30s. Living hard, at least, anyways, because you don't look young anymore, sir. And then, yeah, transgender. Anyone surprised? Yeah. I'm not. I wasn't. That's for sure. Maybe you didn't ask. I don't know. This is, this is The Daily Show. This wasn't actually my boy. This is The Daily Show. That's not his show anymore. But their audience was applauding all of these attacks. And even the host, who's liberal, was like, damn. So my hat's off to him a little bit. Anyway, check it out.
Jim, they're taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh?
I don't know about the petty part, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, at least he's kind of like, wow, damn, what's up with you guys, right? Like, that's pretty jacked up. Social security numbers and other private information has apparently been unmasked in this JFK files. This is the Washington Post talking about the horrid of facts that are being released. First off, mostly been a nothing burger. It's what I kind of figured it would be, though. People are digging up stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be some interesting connections that are going to be made. So I do look forward to furthering our understanding of what's happening, and we'll certainly get there. But Social Security numbers and other private information of more than 200 former congressional staffers and others were made public Tuesday in an unredacted files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. This occurrence, when John F. Kennedy was president and alive still, this was 60 plus years ago, right, basically, right? So 200 former congressional staffers. Well, each one of these staffers, what? I'm going to say young. I mean, they could have been 18, but doubtful, but 20. If they were 20 at the time, they'd be friggin' 80 right now. It's unlikely that anybody is still alive from this moment in time that was working for him, but maybe. Whatever the case is, this needs to come out. I mean, what people's information might come out too around the Epstein stuff. Maybe not their social securities, but whatever. Stuff happens. General Flynn had an interesting conversation and basically is naming Alan Dulles as, like one of the evil, wicked monsters, which I think most of us believe is the case. And they were trying to rename the Allen Dulles Airport. I don't know if it's been officially done yet, but I know they were trying to rename Dulles International because this is going to come out. And they didn't want the airport still being there with that name. But there was a whole other side of the argument, which is we want these guys slimed. We want everybody to remember them. Then we'll change the name because, we named it after someone that's horrific.
So that old audio of Clifton Carter, the former head of the DNC and LBJ's bestie, right? And that Saul Estes guy, they're replaying that old audio all over social media. And you've got Clifton Carter there saying and claiming that LBJ was in on this. Right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm hearing Roger Stone say that Nixon told him, hey, I wanted that seat too, but I didn't go to the lengths LBJ did and have him killed.
Right.
I mean, do you think that the vice president was possibly involved too back then?
Yeah, I think we're going to find out a lot. And I'll give you another name, Dan.
Okay.
Dulles. Dulles, name Dulles Airport, right? The Dulles was the CIA director under Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Kennedy fired him. Dulles then went, just like John Brennan and Obama have done, they went to a little safe house, a little house off-site in Washington, D.C., and they continued to run the CIA after he was fired. That's well known. So Dulles is another name along with LBJ. So, yeah, I think more and more to come.
All right, some fireworks here.
Yeah, big time fireworks. Big time fireworks. So we're figuring out some stuff. And this is, again, this isn't, in my opinion, new. This is one of the I've seen this video before of the potential. Well, this is the possibility that one of the second shot or third shot, I forget which one, but was likely done by the driver. It's kind of hard to see even in this video. It seems that he's holding something, and it is reminiscent of a weapon used at that time by like CIA and Secret Service and stuff like that. It does look like he potentially did turn around and maybe shoot him. The angle seems to work. So just to, throw some more fuel on the fire. Let's see if you can, maybe get my face is out of the way. Yeah, hard to see. Let's see. Let's play that again. So it seems to be something in his hands. And to me, this image is, I've seen cleaner images of this in the past. And I don't know why. But, it's something with today's technology. Man, you'd think you'd be able to clean it up better, wouldn't you? But needless to say, there's a strong chance that he was hit from a couple different sides. The front shot could easily have been somebody else in the building next to the book depository. There was a building right next door, or even an office just right next door that could have been. Oswald was most likely not the shooter. He was always the patsy. Well, he shot, but he probably never connected, even on the first shot, which would have been his most likely shot or chance of succeeding. And, I mean, even that's doubtful that he pulled that shot off. Hopefully we'll find out more, guys. I am very much looking forward to the day when we get that, that's for sure. The EU has been told to delay retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. whiskey and other exports. It is funny how it's just mostly alcohol. Like, it's been whiskey. Like, Canada's like, we're taking whiskey off the shelf. Like, is that America to everybody? Just whiskey? I mean, we make good whiskey, and I guess probably the best, right? But really, that's it. That's all we export. I was sort of disappointed and be like, and I don't know, paper clips. You guys make the best paper clips in the world. Something. No, not a lot to hang our hats on, folks. I mean, whiskey's awesome. Don't get me wrong. Dow Jones down, not too shabby right now. It was down quite a bit earlier. Apple took a big dive today. Well, a reasonable dive. It was even down worse. And again, it has to do with the AI stuff. Google was down, Microsoft was down, so a lot of the tech stuff was down. Dow Jones itself was down, which to me is funny, kind of. Like, that Dow Jones Industrial Average is an actual symbol that's traded. It's worth 50. Well, it was down 50. Oh, that's the whole number I see. Okay. Sorry. Every now and then there's extra information that I didn't process yet. But yeah, so again, not good. Stocks too. I mean, 41. We were almost at 50 at one point, right? And S&P. I don't remember what the cap was there, but we're certainly not getting to it. Nasdaq as well is coming down. So gold still going up. It's been a little up and down, but it's at 3053 right now, 3053 right now. It's doing very, very well. So, folks, I am telling you, you probably don't want to stick around in their system. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think their system's a good idea. My good friends at Goldco can help you get out of that system tax-free and penalty-free. They may not believe all the crazy crap I talk about, but they certainly are excellent at getting this process taken care of, doing it quickly and doing it effectively and doing it legally, and also making sure that you have all your questions answered. They have the best customer service I've ever dealt with. I love these guys. Absolutely love them. That was a great experience when I've purchased metals from them, and you can also purchase metals from them. They've got all sorts of different stuff. They've got multiple suppliers. You should seriously check it out. But if you're a 401k or an IRA, I would strongly suggest diversifying, or even just straight up getting out of, but diversifying at least out of that system and put those eggs into a precious metals IRA basket. It's physical metals. They're put in a trust, literally tax-free, penalty-free, literal physical metals. You can literally have them send them to you at some point, the metals themselves. This is legit. I know a lot of people say if you don't have the metals in your possession, then you don't have anything. Well, problem is you can't cash out your 401k and not get charged penalties and heavy taxes. That's the same thing as giving you the metals. It's cashing out. You can't just be like, yeah, but I'm not going to use it. Well, they don't trust us. Let's just put it that way, which, they probably shouldn't. Whatever the case is, Goldco can help you do it the proper way, correctly, quickly, and get out of that system while you can, while the stocks have not. There's more bad news coming. We know it is. There's too much stuff on the outer scope right now. Too many deep state companies that need to be adjusted. Some are self-adjusting. We'll see. But go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Got a chance, too, up to $10,000 of free silver. And silver's doing really well right now, too. So something to keep in mind. drslikesgold.com. Here's Stephen Miller talking about the district courts and judges trying to control things, and that shouldn't be legal.
You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president has been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitutional system.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Just absolutely destroying it. Judge blocking Trump deportations played key role in Trump-Russia FISA saga. I brought this up yesterday. I just thought it was worth bringing back up again. This is that Boasberg dude. He was literally one of the FISA judges. Just that part was the part I wanted to make sure. He was one of the FISA judges. So if anyone's got any questions about this guy, and not to mention his wife and daughter are directly involved in similar stuff with these woke companies. His daughter especially make money off of this stuff. And they scrubbed all that stuff on the internet too. You can't find out anything about him. This guy's hardcore. Hardcore. Whatever the case is. They are majorly protecting him. We'll see what happens. Because, the truth is going to just friggin' destroy him. And hopefully some people got the archives of those, or possibly maybe Space Force, and they're able to re-update the archives that have been deleted. And when they go to those lengths where they delete the archives, that's a big deal. And when they find out somebody has them, boy, oh boy, watch out. They'll mess with your computers, too, easily. Judge Howells rejected a request for an injunction to prevent DOJ from taking over the U.S. Institute for Peace, stating that although she is disturbed by DOJ's aggressive and intimidating actions towards U.S. citizens, there are significant flaws in the legal basis of the lawsuit. It is not moving forward. Pentagon is going to appeal the judge's decision blocking transgender ban. Hegseth says, of course, we don't need to spend a lot of time listening to him talk about how they're going to appeal that, but that'll come. We'll get the decision at some point. But, of course, the appeals are coming. Howley, I should say, is going to introduce legislation to curb court rulings against the Trump agenda. District court judges have issued record numbers of national injunctions against Trump, his administration, a dramatic abuse of judicial authority. I will introduce legislation to stop this abuse for good. One of those guys, and I want to say it was Grassley, I think was putting through something that was trying to force them to where they would have to pay for the lawsuit up front, and that way, if for some reason the lawsuit was kicked to the curb because they didn't have standing or something along those lines, they'd get stuck having to pay the price and the fees of the other side, which would help reduce some of the frivolous stuff, especially the frivolous stuff that's able to literally shut down what the executive branch is able to do, which is absurd, right? Again, we sort of did it with Biden, but a lot of the stuff that we managed to stop, which like mostly the gun bans, which are totally illegal, but they took a while. We got banned for a while, and then eventually got that undone. And then we also had, what was the other one? Issues with, migration, but we never won those. We tried. There was a big deal going on with Texas. But we've had, I'm drawing a blank on the big one. We've been thwarted all over the place, though, with the courts. And so this is, something has got to change. The student loan. That was the one. Student loan. And essentially, there was a period of time when he said he was going to do it, and it's like 30 days before he could even start. Anyway, so it gave us time to fight it in courts so that we didn't even need to do a stay. So again, not all the same stuff, but they've gone after Trump hard. Like they've said, over 2/3 of every injunction that's been done this century, since 2000, has been against Trump. Now, the other side, by the way, to give the argument they're going to make, because he's so crazy. Okay, but you guys are so partisan, and Trump got the overwhelming votes to prove that he is doing the will of the people. So we're literally being fought by people that are in the minority, that somehow are able to control and stop things because the minority doesn't like what the majority wants to do. This is democracy in action, folks, as they would put in our face. DHS confirms to Fox News that ICE has arrested Badar Khan Suri. He's an Indian student at Georgetown who DHS claims has been spreading Hamas propaganda and has connections to a known or suspected terrorist who is a senior advisor to Hamas. DHS seeks to deport him via the same rarely used statute that they are invoking with Columbia student Mahmoud Khalil. So, Suri is a foreign exchange student at Georgetown University, actively spreading Hamas propaganda. He wasn't even a citizen, so that's it. Foreign exchange student here doing nefarious things. Yeah, you don't get rights, man. It's not how it works. He was promoting anti-Semitism as well on social media. Suri has close connections to a known or a suspected terrorist. Again, I don't need to reread the same shit. How Trump finally nailed illegal immigrant activists touted by Time magazine who used churches to evade ICE for years. This chick, it's pretty awesome that they finally caught her. We talked about this yesterday too, but I just kind of wanted to bring it up one more time. Jeanette Vizguera, probably a 53-year-old Mexican mom, of course, of 4. That's what they're going to make a big deal about that. But she was once named Time's 100 most influential people. She's been hiding from immigration and customs officials in Colorado, in a Colorado church. Now, years ICE has apparently been trying to get their hands on her. They finally got her, get this, in the parking lot of a Target store where she works. Why couldn't we get her before? Is it because we weren't allowed in this state? Or because, I get the Biden administration probably didn't arrest her, but what about when Trump was in office? This chick's been running from the agents for a while, I think. Whatever the case is, she's finally caught. And she's been helping smuggle all sorts of people in. She's been a huge part of this. She's tied in with the criminal cartels and everything else. Ladies, I don't know why she's having to work at Target. So whatever the case is, maybe that's just cover because she makes money as cash. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, she's busted. Hardcore. Good stuff. New York. This is a huge, big deal in New York. I'm very, very proud of New York's court. I'm shocked even. But New York's highest court just ruled against New York City's law allowing non-citizens to vote. Voting is limited to citizens, the court ruled. Not only did they rule this, they ruled 6-1 which you got to laugh at who the one person must have been, but whatever. 6-1, they're like, no citizenship, no votey. That's no. You don't get a say in anything when you're not actually one of us. Mexican leader of cartel-connected human smuggling group has been blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury. This is going to help shut this individual down. Humilca Sandoval Hernandez Perez. He was a leader in Mexico of a human smuggling operation that moved migrants from Guatemala through Mexico and into the United States. The U.S. government named the group the Lopez Human Smuggling Group, or organization. The group began operating in 2017 and moved thousands of migrants into the United States. The available information points to the group making between $104 to $416 million between 2020 and 2023. The group would charge migrants between $13,000 to $16,000 to move migrants illegally across the border. So the Treasury Department placed its founding leader, Ronaldo Galindo Lopez Escobar, and his family on the blacklist. The move this week targeted the group's Mexico-based leader. According to U.S. authorities, Sandoval Hernandez worked from Mexico with La Linea faction of the Juarez cartel to move migrants into New Mexico, Arizona, and California. In its statement, the Treasury Department claimed the Lopez Group would purchase fraudulent Mexican documents and would also pay cartel fees to La Linea as part of their operations. Seems to be a reasonable good bust. Donald Trump Jr. posted this. I thought this was pretty cool. Charlie Kirk, I am very impressed with Charlie Kirk, and this seems very appropriate, I feel like. But Charlie Kirk is going to take Rush Limbaugh's old time slot. We'll see how that plays out. Donald Trump Jr. said huge shoes to fill, but I can't think of anyone better to take the movement forward. And I agree. Charlie Kirk is I think probably the best guy to do this. He's brilliant dude, and very impressed with his abilities to just debate and people on anything. It's really good. Let's see. We got an FBI agent who had publicly alleged that Trump ally Rudy Giuliani may have been compromised by Russia, and who had denied that the FBI had mishandled its investigation of Hunter Biden. Well, he was arrested this week for the illegal disclosure of confidential information. He, got a whole bunch of emails. He was sharing them with people he shouldn't have been, some were secret for sure. He then brought those emails into a book, used them there, and then this book is now, I think it was published, but not quite released maybe yet. But he literally had classified information in the book. This dude's busted. And this guy's, what's his name? His last name's Bouma. Jonathan Bouma. He had handled confidential human sources for the Bureau, and whose home had been raided by the FBI back in 2023. He was arrested at JFK Airport in New York on Monday night. I wonder where he was heading. He was about to board an international flight. He was not able to get on. And that's how that game is played. So, yeah, Booma's made all sorts of allegations that the FBI was mishandling a variety of sensitive investigations, claiming his efforts to scrutinize former Giuliani and others. So he's been a bad man that is going to be paying the piper. That's a fun part. Biden's education department spent over $100 million on DEI, anti-racist social workers for the K through 12 school district. This was going to, I think, a specific group. These grants were issued under the guise of providing mental health to students through the Mental Health Services Professional Demonstration Grant Program. Whew, boy, should have taken a breath in the middle of that title. And the School-Based Mental Health Services Grant Program, according to a report released Wednesday by Parents Defending Education. The funds were distributed to 26 universities that institute required course teaching about oppression and white supremacy, radicalizing social workers who go and work for the K through 12 schools. They're putting an end to this. They're done with it. They got some quotes here. School social workers did not used to spend years marinating in highly ideological courses about privilege, oppression, racial capitalism, and white supremacy, but today, this is common practice in public and private universities. While this is obviously disturbing, the fact that the U.S. Department of Education has been funding it since 2021 is a major red flag. How can a social worker help students become the best version of themselves if they see them as oppressors with unearned privileges? Yeah, Can't be a white person anymore, that's for sure. I learned that long ago. Trump is going to sign an order supposedly today. We'll see. I normally don't share these, but this seemed like this was probably coming and worth mentioning. But he's supposed to sign an order today aimed at eliminating the education department, like officially making it so. They're talking about trying to thin it down. They're also talking about how they're going to continue to pay important things that are happening, like Pell Grants. I think we've got her talking about it here. So let's cover that this way. Of course, Carolyn Leavitt, awesome lady.
Caroline, what do you say to critics of the president's education plan?
Where was their criticism of our nation's failing test scores for the last several decades? The Department of Education was founded in the 1970s, and since then we have spent more than $3 trillion at this federal bureaucracy. What has been the return on that investment for the American taxpayer? Levels that are less than ideal, less than proficient. Our children's test scores are incredibly concerning when it comes to reading rates, literacy rates, math, and science test scores. The numbers prove that, and this president is finally taking much needed action to return education to where it belongs, and that's to educators closest to students in their classrooms in their respective states. We're going to have a great event here later at 4 o'clock. There will be students here, teachers here, parents here, educators, and of course governors from around the country who are very excited about taking on this responsibility to educate our nation's students.
Who's going to run federal student loans?
So the Department of Education will be much smaller than it is today. As you know, the president's executive order directed Linda McMahon to greatly minimize the agency. So when it comes to student loans and Pell Grants, those will still be run out of the Department of Education, but we don't need to be spending more than $3 trillion over the course of a few decades on a department that's clearly failing in its initial intention to educate our students.
So is the federal government going to be
going to
spending
be
less?
much smaller than it is? Is it not going to be shut down completely? And then I have a second question.
As I said, Pell Grants and student loans will still be run out of the department in Washington, D.C., but the great responsibility of educating our nation's students will return to the states.
And the Department of Education plays a critical role in enforcing civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination. Who's going to do that now?
Any critical functions of the department, such as that, will remain. But again, we're greatly reducing the scale and the size of this department.
What about federal Title I funding and special?
What about everything else that we are shutting down that we need and rely on? Says the deep state. Inside the now shuttered federal agency where employees lived like reigning kings. This is awesome. So I didn't even heard of this group. They were doing such a good job. But one of the 7 small federal agencies that President Donald Trump ordered downsized or eliminated on Friday was rife with corruption, with its employees hiring friends and relatives, commissioning paintings of themselves, and using government credit cards to indulge in constant luxuries. The Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, the FMCS, I've never heard of them. They occupied a 9-story office tower on D.C.'s K Street for only 60 employees. They had 9 stories for 60 people, many of whom actually worked from home prior to the pandemic. Its managers had luxury suites with full bathrooms. One manager would often be in the shower when she was needed, while another used her bathroom as a cigarette lounge. FMCS recorded its director as being on a years-long business trip to D.C. so he could have all of his meals and living expenses covered by taxpayers simply for showing up to the office. FMCS is a 230-employee agency that exists to serve as a voluntary mediator between unions and businesses. Yeah, we don't need that, do we? First off, unions are a problem unto themselves. We don't need this group of people that are this indulgent, that's for sure. Then it's an independent agency. So its director normally reports to the president, but the agency is so small that in effect there's no oversight at all. And it showed, becoming a real-life caricature of all the excesses that the Department of Government Efficiency are alleging are taking place all over the place. It's just another great example of a bunch of wasted money. White House forces out CEO of passenger railroad Amtrak. This company's obviously not doing well, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said in a statement that Amtrak needs to address safety concerns at Washington's Union Station. There's been a lot of concerns about homelessness and all sorts of things going on at Union Station. Amtrak is, I guess, supposed to help police that in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure how that all works, but yeah, they're obviously doing a piss poor job for anybody that's ever been over there. I've heard stories. That's all I've got. House Oversight probes EPA waste financial conflicts, it seems. Yeah, financial conflicts of interest in billions of questionable expenditures under the Biden administration's Environmental Protection Agency. They're facing fresh scrutiny by House investigators. In a letter that was sent out by House Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer and Rep. Eric Burleson and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin for a briefing, while also commending Zeldin for identifying waste, fraud, and abuse in the agency. The letter from Comer and Burleson, the chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Energy Policy, and Regulatory Affairs. I hate how long their titles are of everything they do. It's just stupid. They want more information. Zeldin in February announced the Biden administration's EPA parked $20 billion at Citibank to distribute climate grants to avoid oversight. Zeldin also referred the matter to the EPA's Inspector General and to the Justice Department. The letter from Comer and Burleson said that the $20 billion was for environmental groups to be dispersed later with minimal, if any, guardrails. Further, it appeared that the $20 billion at issue is part of the Inflation Reduction Act, their greenhouse gas reduction fund, whose former director appears to have facilitated $5 billion in funding to his former employer. The Washington Free Beacon first reported last month the director of the greenhouse gas oversaw $5 billion to his former employer. It's a huge deal. The assessment of the Biden administration's EPA and the financial institutions coordination should include a review of the individuals involved in establishing this anomalous arrangement because of apparent conflict of interest concerns and the lack of oversight for bipartisan infrastructure law and IRA funds, including in the months before Donald Trump's inauguration. The letter adds, at least one former Biden administration EPA official who appears to have worked on a team dedicated to the BIL and IRA implementation between November 6th of 2024 and January 20th of 2025 is seeking employment with the recipient of the funds. He's now going to go get a job at the place where he pushed this $5 billion, or one of the places anyways. So in calling for the termination of the contract and a return of the $20 billion to the U.S. Treasury, Zeldin said oversight was needed for EPA officials and stressed there was no evidence Citibank did anything improper. But on Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkin, we remember her, a Barack Obama appointee and a Trump hater, she blocked the EPA from canceling the contract. She can't do that. So whatever, I don't know how this plays forward, but it's more of the same shenanigans. We got deals going on. These are people doing little handshakes. We've found obvious corruption that needs to be investigated, certainly before we let the money go anywhere. And yeah, we should probably claw it back in the big picture too. So it's insanity. Now, Hegseth announced today that he's signing a memo directing the termination of about $580 million in Department Defense contracts. I'm going to let him tell us about it rather than reading it for you. Check it out.
We're back with another quick update on our efforts to cut wasteful spending and cut it quickly at the Department of Defense so we get the dollars to the things that the warfighters need. So today, I'm signing a memo directing the termination of over $580 million in DoD contracts and grants that do not match the priorities of this president or this department. In other words, they are not a good use of taxpayer dollars. Ultimately, that's who funds us, and we owe you transparency and making sure we're using it well. So here's quickly what we're canceling today. There's an HR software effort that was supposed to take a year and cost $36 million, but instead it's taken 8 years and is currently $280 million over budget, not delivering what it was supposed to. So that's 780% over budget. We're not doing that anymore. Number two, another batch of DoD grants, $360 million worth this time. Decarbonizing emissions from Navy ships, part of the Obama-Biden green agenda, that's $6 million. $5.2 million on something that would diversify and engage the Navy by engaging underrepresented BIPOC students and scholars. Another $9 million at a university to approach equitable AI and machine learning models. I need lethal machine learning models, not equitable machine learning models. And number 3, in our ongoing effort to cut wasteful spending on external consulting services, $30 million in contracts with Gartner and McKinsey. It's IT, purchasing, unused licenses. So when you add it all up, $580 million in DoD contracts and grants, DOGE is helping us cut today. What does that bring our total number up? Total cuts, running total, $800 million in wasteful spending canceled over the first few weeks as DoD partners with DOGE here to make sure that our warfighters have what they need by cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse. They're working hard. We're working hard with them. We appreciate the work that they're doing, and we have a lot more coming, so stay tuned. So might as well not waste any more time right now. Just sign this thing. How about that? So this makes it official. We're going to keep going for you guys.
I love how he doesn't give a crap like Trump does about his signature. Trump's the president, so of course it matters more, right? But yeah, Pete's just like, I'm going to sign this on my lap, dude. I don't even care. I'm going to sign it in friggin' pencil. You watch. You watch. So you got to wonder how many of the defense contractors / defense companies, we'll call them defense, it's funny, it's mostly for offense, but how many of those are going to have lower earnings reports in the next quarter or 2 quarters from now, when a lot of this money that didn't get to them finally shows up in the books? Again, DRS-likescold.com. Folks, there's a lot of things. Trump is going to keep this from hurting as badly as it's going to, or could have, I should say, but it's not going to be free from sin, I don't think. I don't think so, folks. MyPillow.com /OTF. Supposed to be talking to Mike Lindell. They've literally reached out to me and said, dude, would you like to have Mike on your show? I'm like, yeah, sure. Not quite sure what we're going to talk about. Might just do a friggin' long MyPillow commercial, let him talk about his spiritual stuff. I don't know. He's got a cool story. I kind of want to ask him questions about, like, what's up with all the election stuff, because he was involved and spent a bunch of his own money on a lot of that stuff, and it's like, where are we at with any of that? That's what I'd like to get him talking about, so we'll see how this plays out. I certainly want to talk about MyPillow. It's a great company, amazing company, great products. They got a huge spring sheet sale going on, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. Spring sheet sale, save 50% or more, they say. Yeah, $29.98. $29.98 for a set of sheets. You don't even have to wash them anymore, folks. Just buy sheets and throw them away when you're done with them. Come on, get serious about it. We've got one of the greatest towels I think I've ever used. I love the My Towels. I do actually like the premium better. But the My Towels are incredible. It's actually incredible. Just one of the best towels I've ever used. It literally absorbs water. It's like a lot of people would be like, duh, that's what towels do. It's like, I don't know, really pay attention. Take one of your towels from somewhere else and wipe it on glass or something that's got water on it and just see how it smears and leaves some behind. These don't. They actually absorb. It's like the Bounty commercials, right? This is the quicker picker upper. It's a crap ton better than Bounty, that's for sure. Also got Mike Lindell's really beautiful cross that he likes to wear, and he displays proudly, which is beautiful. It is sterling silver. There's 2 different versions of it. There's a men and women's version. You're going to save 30%. It's a beautiful cross. You would like it. I think it's like an inch and a half or so. It's a decent size. I mean, it's a good size cross. It's not huge, but it's also not tiny, right? It's beautiful. Very beautiful. I like it. I think it's a beautiful thing. My favorite pillow ever. This is literally what made me fall in love with the company, and they are even cheaper now. Look at that. But I just like the film. I think it's an incredible pillow. I do like the cooling technology on the 2.0. So if you're somebody that goes to a hotel and you got a big, giant, fat, thick pillow when you get to the hotel and you're like, I love the pillows. Dude, don't listen to me. Get the 2.0. It's the pillow. You'll love it, right? Get that one figured out for you. But if you're somebody that kind of likes a thinner pillow and you wish you would have brought your pillow with you when you end up at a hotel because your neck always feels weird, yeah, I would check the Classic and I would hit their thin level because I love it. And I think it's the best. And I finally got the king size version of it, and it's just as good as the queen. It's legit. It's awesome. And so they start at $17.98. Highly recommend them. It's an incredible pillow. Your head just kind of falls right into it. It keeps your neck and everything aligned just beautifully. It's just an awesome, awesome, awesome pillow. Any towel product they make or sheet product they make are incredible. Their slippers are also incredible. The thickness of the fur inside there's like literally like walking in the clouds. They've got a beautiful sale going on with those. So again, a lot of amazing. Here's that 2.0 I was telling you about. You got a good deal going on. It literally is cooling. There's this outer thing literally cools off a lot. It's a trip. It's very cool. No pun intended. But the way it works and how well it works. Like I said, if I could get that on this pillow, oh, dude, that better be the 3.0. Mike, when you get the 3.0, buddy, I don't know if I have the courage to say that to him, by the way. I don't like your 2.0 as much as the 1.0. Like, I don't think I'll do that. That seems like a bad idea. They've got a whole bunch of clearance stuff. Let's check it out today because sometimes you never know what's in here. They got the lightweight throw blankets, right? You can just throw it at people. It's like a ninja sword. They got a deluxe mattress pad that you can get, $119. That's really good for a really nice, thick mattress pad. Dude, that's incredible. They got the My Towels 2-pack hand towels that they're doing for you. We got some PJs and shorts or panjamas, as my lovely girlfriend calls them. Ooh, they got some different tree skirts. They've apparently sold out of the other ones, or they got grandma knitting out a new pattern now, whatever the case is. But $20 for a tree skirt. Think about it. This is the perfect time of year to be buying crap like that. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you have ever had. Yeah, try it. See what happens. Tell me I'm wrong. I guarantee you get that pillow, you're going to be like, daggum. Wildfires erupt as strong winds continue to hit parts of the country. So we've got a number of places that are burning now. This is so like California. Like, we're used to it here. Like, I mean, it's not cool. We're not used to it in that sense. But, yeah, they've got a lot of places where you're allowed to burn trash and burn brush and, and these things can easily get out of control when you've got some numbnut that's like, I'm going to do brush burn today. It's like, bro, it's going to be windy. Nah, ain't going to be that bad. I got like a bucket of water. Anyway, these people start brush fires, or the embers go flying miles away, and everything's super dry right now. So just be careful, folks. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is going to call a snap election on Sunday with vote expected on April 28th. I don't know what this is about. It's a snap election, and government officials have told us that are familiar with the matter, so we don't even know for sure if it's true, but I'm sure this stuff leaks over there. Let's see. What else? The Governor General holds a constitutional and ceremonial role as the representative of Canada's head of state, King Charles III. So I'm wondering if I guess this is why I shared this, if we're starting to move in the direction of Canada becoming the 51st state. Now, I did see a crazy-ass story today that the King was considering offering us to be part of the Commonwealth. There's no way in hell. We would absolutely destroy anybody that like we're too fired up. There's no way. And I just thought it was hilarious. It was I had Daily Mail or something stupid. The Hill. I don't know, one of those British tabloid tapers. But it's kind of crazy. Made me laugh. President of Congo is offering ownership of some of the country's $24 trillion in minerals if we help with what's going on. This is kind of interesting and scary, sort of at the same time.
Can you talk about the discussions for a deal with your country?
Très bien, merci.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. We are looking for partnerships, and we have established partnerships with many other countries, and we think the United States of America, given its role and influence around the world, is an important partner to have. And we are very happy to see that with the Trump administration, things are moving a lot faster on both sides.
Untapped deposits are worth an estimated $24 trillion. What would you need to happen to move forward with that relationship?
We want to extract these minerals, but also process them, as this would create a lot of jobs. And we want a partnership that will provide lasting peace and stability for our countries, which we need.
It's a dangerous place, the Congo. How would a U.S. company guarantee safety on the ground?
We can build our defense and security capabilities. And I think that the U.S. is able to use either pressure or sanctions to make sure that armed groups who are in the DRC can be kept at bay.
You down with DRC? Yeah, you know me. This would be interesting. I kind of wonder, though. It sort of breaks my whole polar thing, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know if, but I know we need minerals and metals like this. We're trying to work the deal with Ukraine. Russia actually was saying, nah, man, you want to do this? We can bring your companies in and we'll do it together, process here. So again, it's employment, and we ultimately get the finished goods, and then we can use those to manufacture on our side. There's a fun game. I don't know if any of you guys play video games. You should get into them a little bit. It's called Factorio, and they've got a new version of it. I haven't actually played it yet. I have it. I've downloaded it. I haven't actually played it yet. But the original Factorio is fun as hell. It's just the concept of building machines that build parts that build fit, and then you need multiple parts to be able to make the next level. And it's generational building, if you will, right? And it helps you kind of understand the concept of raw material all the way to finished good, even next generation level finished goods. So the idea of doing some of this, and I'll be honest, this is some of the dirtiest, nastiest parts of the work, creates the most sludge, the most waste, right? It's kind of fucked up, but whatever. We are doing this. It's giving them money and an economy, and it puts us there, which means we're going to protect this stuff. There is a small port that looked like that touched the water that we would guarantee that port's security, so pirates would no longer have anything near there. Like, it would be interesting. And it was, for me, it was one of those things where it was like, damn, this is literally the world changing. Like, I keep talking about it's changing. It's like, it is. Totally. Like, my girlfriend keeps tripping on me. She's seeing all this weird shit in her life where it's changing. I've been telling her for, I don't know, a few years now. I'm like, sweetheart, it's totally changing. The world is changing. I just keep telling people this. And most people are like, yeah, so many people think we're going back to the way days were. And no, we'll never go back. The future that we are going to will barely resemble the past that we came from. It's like Exodus in the Bible. Like, it's literally will not be the same place, which, by the way, I have a whole different understanding and appreciation for now that I've read that, halfway through that book. God, I'm loving that book. That book is awesome. The Naked Bible, I think it's called. There it is, it's upside down. Naked Bible. Moro Biglino. That's how you would sort of spell it, but you sort of don't pronounce the G. He's not the actual author. As Cataneo, something like that, is the author. It's an incredible book, The Naked Bible. Seriously. And this is for people that kind of want to understand the translation errors from Hebrew specifically, which is where most of the original Bible came from, is Hebrew. Some of it was some other stuff. I've heard Aramaic on some other things prior, but he doesn't mention any of that at all. And he's talking about Old Testament and even the times of Moses. And where Moses would have lived. He would have been Egyptian. It would have been written in Egyptian at that time. So just a lot of really, really awesome facts that I don't know why I'm plugging this dude's book, but I got another one of his books. That's how much I loved it. I'm just, digging it. So, yeah, President of Congo. And it's kind of funny. I didn't expect him to be speaking French. I wasn't ready for that. I can't be as douchey to him that way because now he's black. Typically, I kind of joke about how I'm racist against French people, and they're usually white. It just, seems funny to me to be racist against a white person, right? Like, you can't really do that, I don't think. But, yeah, this is different. Shakespeare's birthplace is going to be decolonized after British researchers say his work enables white supremacy. What is wrong with you guys in England? I've got a couple friends that watch us from across the pond, and I love you guys, unquestionably, definitely. But what the fudge is going on with you all? Your country is, like, as an American, it's very hard for me to make any sort of, like, statement that would suggest somehow the monarchy is a better form of life. I don't get what's going on there. And you guys don't really have rights. You can't really talk about it anymore. You can't even think about stuff too close to anything because then that's technically against the law. Like, you guys have some crazy ass shit going on. ED. This is an Indian company. They're searching 8 different residences or premises, I guess. What's a premise? They're searching 8 locations. That would, premises, like a place. Yeah, that's what I thought. 8 different locations, much better word, linked to George Soros's funding of this agency in India that's causing, headaches to India as far as they're concerned. But here they are looking into the Open Society Foundations and all that good stuff. Yes, there's a whole lot. Big, long story. Spada Investments, an investment advisor or fund manager of SEDF in India, right? Like, you don't want all the details per se. It's an interesting thing that another country is digging into the Soros stuff. Bill Gates is on that list too, folks. Don't worry. Elon Musk sues India's government over takedown orders on X. I just thought this was a cool place to put this story. India did one positive thing, and then on the other side, not doing the needful. Yes, they have accused Delhi of issuing arbitrary or erratic takedown notices. I'm not sure. India's not totally free speech, and they've got a caste system. Again, I've worked with a bunch of Indians in my team. I miss them much. That was the only reason I continued working at that company while I was doing this stuff, because I just love those guys. My whole team, my good friend Chad, and just everybody. It was just a great experience. Loved working there. There's a very different system out there, very different world. And so the fact that they're going after him and then Musk is suing them because they're taking people down, whatever the hell. That's just a story. This is mass protests going on in Turkey after the arrest of Erdogan's rival. Maybe Erdogan's the problem. Like, I don't know. I thought he was kind of the good guy, but he could be like the dude in Israel right now, right? Netanyahu. Not sure. Mr. Bibi. Again, I kind of was sort of leaning towards the side that Bibi might be a good guy, but man, I don't know, like I started off on this show with Julian's rum. It's almost like that's going to be saved for last, and that was always the thing that was prophesied, though, again, I have a slightly different appreciation for some of the prophecies now, too. Nonetheless, we'll see. There's a lot of people that believe that is what we're going to experience, and so there could be a very, very true manifestation of that. We'll see how that kind of all plays out. Good, it's just, it's such a cool time to be alive. Charlie Kirk posted this. Did you know there are over 23 million civilian employees of the government, state, local, and federal? 23 million civilian employees of the government. Damn. 11 million work in education. Almost half. 11 million of these federal employees, government employees anyways. 6.7 million of those are not teachers. Over half. Education is top, heavy, and bloated. Abolish the Department of Education. We're going to save a ton of money and actually get more teaching done and have more teachers have rights to say something, especially the teachers that are like in my audience. This will be our chance to finally have a say in teaching again. Won't that be awesome? Because you're on the ground. It's kind of like, you know what's up. You know what works, at least in your area specifically. The White House said on Wednesday it has moved beyond the previously negotiated U.S.-Ukraine minerals and natural resources deal. What I find super fun about this is they're like, yeah, we're past that now. We're not interested in getting any of their mineral rights or any of that nonsense. Now, here's why. We know Putin has talked to Trump about doing that in Russia. And 2, some of the agreements that he had with Trump for the ceasefire was like, look, don't be helping them. Why don't you help us, right? We'll trickle some money their way. Don't worry about that. But not that they said that, or help there too, maybe after, but get involved here in Russia. Like, fuck Ukraine, kind of. And he's not saying that, but he is. I don't know. We'll see. Like, again, a lot of this is just, we are speculating on conversations that are being had behind the scenes, right? And in a lot of cases, I mean, there's no secrets in spirit. I'll tell you that much. So we get some of it. We get some of it. Ukraine strikes a Russian airfield, and it looks like they did some extensive damage. I don't know if they hit the fuel depot or they hit some armor or something, because they got a giant-ass explosion. I think this hopefully shows it.
Там что-то ёбнуло пиздец.
Над общагой его сбили.
That is an insanely big explosion. Just huge. Unquestionably. Huge. So again, it doesn't look like it did nuclear type damage. It did a big explosion. It did have a bit of a mushroom cloud, but not like a true nuclear one that's really got a strong center core of upliftment, if you will. This one kind of had like a crookedy one. And so I think it was just a big ass explosion and still had some heat coming up that was creating the stem, if you will, of the mushroom cloud. I don't even know if that's the proper way to refer to that, but it seems to make sense. Trump suggests U.S. control of Ukraine nuclear plants in his phone call with Zelensky. This is also an interesting thing, and maybe Russia's like, we don't mind you do that. That makes good sense. So again, don't give them weapons, but help them with their infrastructure, because you've got some of the best nuclear in the world. I think our nuclear is a little bit well, I don't know. I've heard some stories about Russia's got this new version of nukes that they're working on. Whatever the case is, maybe they don't want to give it to Ukraine yet and let us deal with it. It doesn't 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at this point. I think some of it, again, is just dividing up the rebuilding, dividing up where the money gets spent and how. And that's, again, it's just important because you put too much money in one place at one time, it starts to inflate that area. And if you don't put it someplace else too, like Russia, for example, well then what the hell, right? Like, I want some of the gravy too, man. It's not fair you get all the gravy. I don't get no gravy. I want some gravy? I like gravy. Ukraine's going to deploy I don't even know what that word was. They're going to deploy machine gun toting robots to the front lines. I don't feel like that can be that good. I mean, I hear they're super quiet, and it'd be scary if one of these things rolled up on you, right? I mean, it would shoot the hell out of you, but, like, you could run up on this thing from the side. Like, I mean, again, I'm sure it's able to turn quickly, maybe, but then to be able to, like, I don't know. It's going to have AI. I'm sure it'll be sort of smart. Whatever the case is, this thing is going to alter the battlefield a little bit. It looks like it shouldn't be that difficult to destroy. It's not like it's heavily armor-plated. It's crappily bolted together. This is not that true. It's really kind of a poorly put-together thing, but whatever. It's got some angles to it, so if it does get hit by something, it has a chance of deflecting, especially small arms. Taliban frees American hostage George Glesman following negotiations with U.S. and Qatar. So the guy's been there like 2 years, I guess. He was there vacationing, somehow became a hostage. I don't know, they let him go because they wanted to do something nice. Taliban's trying to make good with the United States, probably because they want us to stop blowing them up. Benjamin Netanyahu was gifted something by John Fetterman and then gifts John Fetterman something back, which is kind of funny. It was a cool little moment. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
It's great that it can be here in some place.
It's going to be here. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Please, can I give a man who has everything? How about giving him a beeper?
It's a.
Now this is a silver-plated beeper. The real beeper is like 1/10 the weight. It's nothing.
Really?
But it changes history.
You know, when that story broke, yeah, and I was like, oh, I love it, and now it's like, thank you for this. Yeah, no, all right, no, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I'd be scared. I would have done the same thing he did at the end. I'd pointed at him and be like, yeah, I don't know if I trust this thing. Is it going to blow up on me on the way home? I'd be nervous. I mean, Fetterman is a Democrat. He's one of the good ones, I think. I would even put him higher than Manchin. Manchin, though, you did a good job, buddy. I know you got hate. And you deserve some of it, my friend, but dadgummit, you did a lot for this country. I will never forget him. I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with me, but I will never forget what Manchin did for this country. In case you missed it, John Barnett, he is a 62-year-old Boeing whistleblower discovered dead with a gunshot wound in South Carolina on Saturday. He had previously told family friends that says if something happens, I'm not suicidal. Guess what we're being told this is? Yeah, suicide. They're not buying it. So his friends and family are coming out saying this is crap, this is bull. So this John Barnett guy was most likely killed. Most likely killed. And he was a whistleblower talking about the cutting corners, using substandard parts to build planes. Now, I get from the deep state standpoint, even the industrial complex, which is probably the Eisenhower military industrial complex, which is possibly where this kill came from, because that still exists too. They're just a little more on board with us. So again, yeah, when you badmouth the company that is ultimately going to have to move us forward, I think we're going to be building stuff that's going to be space-oriented to a degree. Well, we'll see what comes. There's a lot of talk, and I know from the ultra-religious folks out there, it might be, you guys feel like, nah, we're coming to the end of a thing, and I think there's an ascension process, but for me, it's what happens after ascension, because we're still going to be here. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of time. That's what a lot of people believe. No, it's going to be the end of evil. 1,000 years of peace, I think, is what the religious texts talk about. So it's going to be more along those lines. So what do we do during that 1,000 years? We're probably going to be going into space and having kind of more of a Star Trek lifestyle where we're going to get to meet, actually, friends from other places. That'll be pretty cool. And we'll be able to get there, within our lives. It'll be fun. Yee's got some weirdness going on again. I mean, it happens often. It seems he goes quiet for a long time, right? When they drug him up or whatever happens. But he was posting, yeah, it's time to get my children from the situation everyone knows they're in. They killed that boy from Lincoln Park for this, but I'm not letting my children be in this anymore. I will be dead before my kids be in Sierra Canyon in September. And then someone texted him back, I am meeting with the detective we found before. He is not on the KK Kardashian payroll. And he says, let's go. It's time. Would you be open to sitting with him and being interviewed about what you saw? And he says, yes. So we'll see what, if anything comes from that. Yee is also supposedly, hanging out with the Tate brothers, which is, I brought this up because it's just kind of weird. He's accusing Kim Kardashian of sex trafficking. Yeah, there's so much going on in this world. I've interesting, weird, direct. I have a direct experience with. I saw one of the Christmas cards from the Kardashians from someone that I've mentioned before. That was tied into that circle. That was tied in with OJ, and OJ was tied in with who knows what too. You know what I mean? So there, so much weird stuff is starting to come out. So again, we'll see a lot of accusations being made. People ultimately need to have their day in court, but she is being accused by Yee of sex trafficking. The kids, specifically. Her kids. That's why he's trying to get them out of that. And if he's making accusations that are untrue, she'll sue him for it. But if they're true in any way, shape, or form, and she sues him and they end up in front of a judge that's not totally corrupt, things would come out, right? Can't have that happen. A Michigan hospital has been placed under lockdown following a weird shooting. I don't think I'm going to play this whole thing. We'll see. We'll play some of it, though.
Set up on the field at this location. Brittany, where are you right now?
This is where it is in relation to the hospital. We're right here. The hospital is down Long Lake Road up to Quinder. So we are about 3 minutes away, about 3 miles, not as the crow flies, though. We are the first crew here. We've even beat the PIOs here. We're told they are en route to give us information. I did just go inside to try and get information, too. A lieutenant is in there. He just got on shift and told me all they can say right now is there is an active situation at Troy Beaumont. Also, when we pulled up, we're parked right over there. Parked in this parking space was a police vehicle, 2 officers in full tactical gear and long guns with helmets, and the little microphones all came out and they whipped out of this parking lot and took a hard left down that street there. So it is still very ongoing. We also did get that active shooter update when we got off the expressway and got right into Troy. That's one of the first things that popped up on my phone. So it is still going on. We are trying our hardest to gather information. We also stopped at Fire Station 5 ahead of time to try and get info. So we are here waiting for the PIOs to get here to tell us what's going on, if there are any injuries, and any information we are going to get. We're going to give it right to you guys at the desk, but we are here waiting. For now, live at the Troy PD Training Center, I'm Brittany.
Yeah, I feel like we had some additional information that I sort of found. They, yeah, no, this is something different. So I guess, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what's going on here. We'll see if he's got better news.
Looking at my map, a neighborhood adjacent to it right here in Burning Bush Drive, and a large police presence, probably about a dozen law enforcement vehicles. I'm going to step out of the way here and just kind of show you what I have here. A lot of vehicles lined up. This is about as close as we could get to the hospital. I know Brittany is on the other side at the fire department, but we were able to make our way here coming up. And then,
holy crap.
There's still law enforcement sirens, a lot of law enforcement coming up to Quinder. There are about a dozen people out here, residents, neighbors, wondering what's going on. Police is actively and frantically trying to cut people off from this area to get them to a safe distance. But right now, certainly we know that it is an active shooter right now happening at Troy Corwell Beaumont hospital here, and yeah, this situation is very fluid right now. As we get more information to you, we'll get it to you on air and online. But Alicia Keenan, this is a frantic situation. I'm a little out of breath because we were running just trying to get to this area, and we had to cut through some neighborhoods to get as close as we could here. This is where we're at right now.
Thank you so much for that live reporting, Ryan. As we're looking at this image right here, you can see they blocked off traffic to DeQuinder Road, really probably to make way for more emergency vehicles, some 24 there right now. But we have an alert that was sent to employees that we're going to share with you in just a moment.
Wow, that is just insanity. Is there live updates? No. We got... Oh, yeah, this was the one suspect. Yeah, they did get the suspect. That's right. The person that got shot was supposedly someone they knew. It was done out in the parking lot, shot him twice in the arm. So the individual that got shot lived. They were in, they're in the hospital. They got shot in the arm twice, which sucks. That arm's going to be probably pretty frigged up, depending what he shot him with. And they got the suspect without killing him. So, yeah, we'll find out, I guess, more. But yeah, that's, I think, the skinny of it. That's right. I forgot that I actually done a little bit of digging on that story. A little bit. All right. Final story here, folks. Almost a short story. All right. This was the kind of so there's so much with there's so much with the pyramid, the original giant pyramid at Giza, the Giza complex. There's a lot of things that we have not been told about that. And this definitely predates Moses. The making of this predates Moses. So this predates the Bible. We've been heavily lied to about this thing that's been on this planet for thousands of years, and people have seen it for thousands of years. It used to have beautiful limestone coverings. They've taken those off. So this is another one of those things that's like, what is this? They said we built it a certain way, but if you actually break down the mathematics of it, it would have been impossible. It would have just taken thousands of years, and the ramp to get the higher pieces in place, especially some of the interesting ones that they've got internally, it would have taken ramps that would have had to have been many, 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 many miles long. You would have had a whole separate, like, pyramid structure. What? And then they took it all down, and there's no showing of that? I'm like, no. This was not made by normal conventional means. It was not made by slaves. That's a bunch of horse shit. Now, I believe it was made by a gentleman that typically goes by the name of Thoth or Toth. Supposedly he is one of the Elohim, which is interesting. I think it's probably one of the ones I'm a little more friendly with. But all said, my understanding, that's who was involved directly with building it. But it goes way the hell back. And then, of course, kings and whatnot took advantage of it being there and tried to turn it into something. This one doesn't have hieroglyphics in it like the other ones do, which is also interesting. There were some writings that were added way later, but there's this weird under area, and there's stories about people that have had just crazy ass hallucinations going down on that bottom part. There's a lot of stories about how the king's chamber has been moved. It used to be located in they moved it by like just a few feet within the king's chamber. Or the Queen's chamber, where I think it's in the King's chamber where the actual sarcophagus thingy was. That was where the actual initiation rites were done. Supposedly, Jesus went through these initiation rites, by the way. This was a very powerful, profound vessel that was used, I've heard, to help teach very high levels of spiritual understanding. Now, there's many that say it was also a power plant. I don't believe, I mean, I do believe that's possible. I think it had another aspect to it with the spiritual component as well. It could have been a power structure. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. We're now finding out about this. And that's why I'm sharing this and talking a lot about this, because I think the pyramid is an extraordinarily important thing. It's one of the things that I am still like looking into. It's one of the rabbit holes that I spend time on and enjoy. And please don't necessarily share a bunch of stuff with me, necessarily because, again, I've seen a lot of stuff on the pyramids over the years and studied a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to sacred geometries and oddities, that there's something very similar on Mars. Again, a lot of things are all over the place for us to find and understand and appreciate. Folks, we've been lied to about almost everything. Well, everything.
3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface. Below ground level, radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And it doesn't even end there.
Yeah, there's no chance in hell this was built by regular people. This would have been built by what we're coming to find. I would say the Elohim is the correct term to use. I do not believe this was, I think this was Thoth. And I think we'll come to find that there are other Elohim that are spoken about. Yahweh is one of them. There's a lot of interesting things just when it comes to the true translations of what the original Hebrew text was. And when you go back to when it started changing, about 400 or 500 BCE, it was just, 500 years after the death of Christ, when they really started making a lot more changes. I think that's when they changed it into Latin or Greek, I think, first, and then Latin. But they made a lot of modifications with their word choices at that point in time. It's very interesting, all the truth that's out there. We've been lied to about a lot of things. Things are significantly cooler, kind of. And again, a lot of the characters that we love and cherish are still there. Our understanding of them is diminished, unfortunately. I can't wait until we have more of that stuff just in the public, in the zeitgeist, because it's really painful to try to push that envelope too early. You got to be really careful when you try to peel a scab. You know what I mean? Try to peel it too early. This is kind of gross, but anybody that's ever had a scab and peeled one, if you wait long enough, yeah, it's easy. It comes right off. Doesn't even hurt, and pretty much don't even need it anymore. If you get it too early, it hurts like hell, and you need one immediately after because it starts bleeding and stuff, right? So it's when is the right time to peel a scab, or just wait for it to fall off on its own, which Dan's not real fond of the wait method. I'm fond of the patient method, but eventually I will. Just like a dog on a leash. God, please let me talk about this stuff, folks. I can't wait. I am just gonna glow. Like, this is one of my favorite things about the show I do with my friend Alpha when we actually do it. But that synchronicity show, it's fun as hell. But he just hits me up with the coolest topics, and it's just like, it's the stuff I love. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that on the air live with a bunch of people. It's just so much fun. So much fun. A lot's happening, folks. We're changing the world. We're waking up. There's a lot going on. We're going to make it through this doorway. I'm going to be there with you. We're gonna get there. I'm so sure, especially my audience. So sure we're gonna get there. It's gonna be a heck of a ride. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think you guys are gonna be stoked that you came along. I hope. But I know we're gonna do it together. That's my plan. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.